I froze mid-step in the church hallway, the sound of my cousin Vanessa's voice landing like a physical blow. $15,000 for a wedding gift. You're such an amazing sister. Her words echoed in the vaulted space, bouncing off the polished wooden floors and stained glass windows. 15,000. My stomach clenched so hard it felt like my ribcage had collapsed in on itself. The gift card tucked inside my purse suddenly weighed 100 pounds, a cruel reminder of what I had actually managed. $5,000. 5,000 that had taken months of working through lunch breaks, of declining weekend getaways, of eating bland salads at my desk while scrolling through travel photos I couldn't afford. Every penny had been scraped together with careful planning, quiet discipline, and more sacrifice than anyone in my family would ever acknowledge. But they weren't telling that story, were they?
No.
My family had rewritten it, inflated it, doubled and tripled it until it became a myth. Amelia Allen, the generous older sister, showering her younger sibling with a gift fit for royalty. I shifted my bag higher onto my shoulder, fingers tightening on the strap as if to anchor myself. Vanessa's eyes found me, widening as though she'd been caught gossiping. Her champagne glass tilted precariously in her hand. "Oh, was it supposed to be a surprise?" she gasped. My PR instincts kicked in automatically, smothering the firestorm erupting inside me. I forced my lips into what I hoped passed for a smile, though it felt brittle, artificial. "Don't worry about it," I said smoothly, my voice steadier than I had any right to expect. "These things have a way of getting out." Relief washed over her face as she reached to squeeze my arm. "Still, what a generous gift. Mia is so lucky to have you." I nodded, murmuring something polite, then turned on legs that suddenly felt like lead. I walked away, but the number chased me down the hall like a specter. 15,000. Not 5. By the time I pushed through the bathroom door, I was trembling. I locked myself in the farthest stall, my pulse hammering so loudly it drowned out the faint organ rehearsal from the chapel. I pulled out my phone with shaking hands, opening my bank app. The balance mocked me, glowing back in sterile black and white. 5,000 saved. Months of overtime. Months of cancelled plans. Months of telling myself it would all be worth it when I saw Mia's face. Instead, I was a pawn in my family's narrative again. My mother's voice replayed in my mind, sharp and casual over brunch. "With your PR salary, everyone expects something substantial." And Mia, nodding along. "Jenny's sister gave 20,000 for her wedding." Substantial. As if my effort were pocket change. As if I hadn't carried the unspoken burdens of this family for years. Tuition, roof repairs, medical bills. Every time the same pattern. A pointed reminder of my good fortune. An implied obligation, gratitude that never quite matched the cost. Staring at the stall door, I felt the truth rise, undeniable and hot in my chest. This wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a pattern. And for the first time the thought formed clearly in my mind. This has to stop. The rehearsal dinner sparkled with chandeliers, champagne flutes, and carefully curated smiles. I took my seat at the long table draped in ivory linen, the weight of my family's expectations settling around me like a velvet cloak I hadn't asked to wear. At the head of the table, my mother and Mia looked radiant, heads bent together in easy conversation. Both glanced up as I approached. Their smiles widened, too wide, too rehearsed, as though they'd been waiting to check that I was in place, playing my role as the generous sister. The sight twisted something deep inside me. I knew that smile. It wasn't love. It was relief. Relief that their scheme was still intact. "Miss Allen." The wedding planner appeared at my elbow, clipboard in hand and a professional smile fixed to her face. "Your mother mentioned you'd like to announce your gift during the reception tomorrow?" Her words struck like ice water poured down my back. Announce my gift. My family hadn't just inflated the story. They'd scripted it into the evening program. I turned to her slowly, feeling something settle inside me. Not panic this time. Something firmer. "Actually," I said, my voice calm, almost foreign to my own ears. "I have a better idea. Could I be added to the toast list?" Before my mother speaks. Of course. She made a neat note on her clipboard. Right after the father-daughter dance. Perfect, I replied, smiling with a steadiness I didn't feel. But when I returned to my hotel room hours later, the facade crumbled. My keycard slipped from trembling fingers as I finally shut the door against the glittering chaos of the evening. Inside, silence greeted me. I sank onto the bed, tugged open my laptop, and pulled up the spreadsheet I'd been keeping for years. Each row was precise, clinical, yet every number represented something I'd given up. $4,700 for Dad's knee surgery. $7,200 for the roof repairs. $11,340 for Mia's study abroad. $3,890 for her car repairs. $5,450 for the anniversary cruise. Line after line, sacrifice after sacrifice, until the total at the bottom glared back at me. $47,380. Nearly a year of my life after taxes. Nearly enough for the bungalow with the bay window I'd dreamed about. Nearly enough for my own future. Instead, it was gone, swallowed by their needs, their expectations, their silence. My phone buzzed. Kate's name lit up the screen. I answered, my voice breaking as I told her everything. The spreadsheet, the fabricated $15,000, the way I felt trapped. Mel, she said after a long pause, her tone firm but kind. That's not generosity. That's financial abuse. The word hung heavy in the room. Abuse. I had never given it a name. But hearing it spoken aloud was like the world snapping into focus. This wasn't love. It was control dressed as duty. Later that night, Mom called. Her voice was brisk, clipped. Just confirming tomorrow. Everyone's expecting your announcement. You know how these things go. Perception is reality. Perception is reality. She had taken the mantra of my profession, my livelihood, and twisted it into a weapon. When I finally hung up, my notifications were blinking. Vanessa had tagged me in a post. So proud of my cousin Amelia for her $15,000 gift to Mia. Family goals. The trap was airtight now. The lie had taken on a life of its own. I stared at the photo album sitting on the desk beside me. Weeks ago, I'd filled it with snapshots of childhood. Mia and me building sandcastles, making snow angels, laughing with Grandma. Memories no one could inflate or twist. I pulled out a pen and inscribed the inside cover in neat, steady letters. Money disappears. Memories are our true inheritance. I ran my hand over the leather cover, a strange calm spreading through me. For once, my gift wouldn't be measured in numbers. This time it would be the truth. The morning sun spilled through the stained glass windows of the church, scattering jewel-colored light across polished wood. Guests gathered in little clusters, voices low, smiles polite. And everywhere I turned I caught the whispers. $15,000. Can you imagine? She must be doing so well. A sister like that, you don't find often. Even strangers clasped my hands with reverence, as if I had single-handedly secured Mia's happiness with a check I had never written. Their gratitude felt like shackles tightening around my wrists. At the salon, the air smelled of hairspray and roses. Mia giggled in her chair as stylists buzzed around her, curls pinned, makeup brushed. Mom hovered nearby, regal in her champagne-colored dress, holding court like the queen she fancied herself to be. "My Amelia always comes through," she declared proudly to anyone within earshot, her voice swelling like a preacher's sermon. The words sliced through me. I caught my reflection in the mirror, a polished, professional woman with flawless hair and painted lips, but the crack beneath the surface was widening. My silence was no longer noble. It was complicity. Later, in the bridal suite, I escaped the hum of curling irons and chatter, seeking a moment of quiet. I rummaged in a drawer for tissues and instead found an old photo tucked between hairpins and lip gloss. It was me, no older than 10, with my arm thrown protectively around a teary-eyed Mia on the playground. I could still remember the day. A group of kids had been teasing her, and I had stood between them and my little sister until they backed down. That was my gift always. Protection. Truth. Honesty. Grandma's voice drifted back from the corners of memory, soft but certain. Honesty is the only gift that never breaks. For the first time that weekend, my lungs filled all the way. The bathroom door creaked open, and Mom slipped inside, her smile tight, eyes sharp. "We need to talk," she said, lowering her voice though the room was empty. "You will not embarrass this family tonight. Do you hear me? Everyone believes in your generosity. That's what matters. You will smile, you will nod, and you will not ruin this." Once, her words would have turned my stomach into knots. But now the knot untangled. I looked her in the eye, my voice steady. "No, Mum. I won't lie for you anymore." Her mouth fell open, but I walked past her, shoulders squared. For the first time I felt taller than her. Hours later, the reception glittered with crystal glasses and candlelight. Laughter rippled across the ballroom, anticipation thick in the air. The father-daughter dance ended with applause, and Mia, radiant in lace, kissed Dad's cheek. The DJ stepped up, microphone in hand. And now, a very special toast, from the bride's sister, Amelia Allen. The room hushed, fork stilled. 100 faces turned toward me, waiting. I rose, photo album in hand, heart thundering but unbroken. This was the moment. The microphone was warm in my hand, though my palms were cool, steady. For the first time in years, I didn't feel the tremor of panic beneath my skin. I looked out across the sea of faces, relatives dressed in their finest, friends sipping champagne, my sister radiant in lace, my parents watching expectantly. I drew in a breath, then began. "I know there's been talk about my gift to Mia," I said, my voice carrying through the ballroom. Numbers, rumors, assumptions. The crowd shifted, murmurs fluttering like startled birds. I felt the pressure, but it didn't crush me this time. I lifted my chin. "The truth is this. Money can be spent. Furniture breaks. Cars rust. But love and truth, those last forever." I turned toward Mia, and for a moment I saw not the bride, not the woman glowing under the lights, but my little sister with scraped knees and wide eyes, clutching my hand on the playground. My throat tightened, but my words stayed clear. "Mia, my gift to you isn't money. Never was. My gift is this." I held up the leather-bound photo album, the light catching on its cover. "A collection of our memories. Because real wealth isn't counted in dollars. It's in moments. In laughter, in love, in the bond we've shared our whole lives." I crossed to her, placing the album in her hands. She opened it, eyes glistening as she flipped through snapshots of childhood summers, birthdays, snow days, and quiet afternoons. "My blessing for your marriage," I continued, "is that it will be built not on expectations or sacrifices forced in silence, but on honesty. Because no union can thrive when it's built on lies. Only truth makes it unbreakable." For a heartbeat, silence reigned. I could hear the rustle of the pages as Mia's fingers lingered on a photo of us with Grandma in the garden. Then came the sound of a gasp, a whisper, and then applause. Soft at first, scattered like raindrops on glass. But it grew, spreading until it filled the room. Aunt Judith rose to her feet, clapping with conviction. Uncle William followed, nodding at me as though to say, "Finally." My mother's chair scraped back sharply. "That's enough," she started, but her voice was drowned beneath the tide of clapping, the swell of approval. And then Mia looked up at me, tears streaking her mascara, and whispered, "Thank you. This means more than anything." The weight I had carried for so long slipped from my shoulders, a burden I hadn't realized had bent my spine, slowed my steps, dimmed my joy. For the first time in years I felt light, free. My truth had been spoken, and it had not destroyed me. As I sat back down, the moral rang clear, not just for them but for me. Family isn't measured in money, not in checks written or sacrifices demanded. Family is love, honesty, and memories that endure long after material wealth fades. And tonight, I had finally given the only gift that never breaks.